Starling's Snicker Symphony, Plinking Plumes from Puddle-Jump Planets. Once upon a time, in a corner of the cosmos where the stars winked like mischievous fireflies and the galaxies swirled like spilled ink in a dream, there lived a little starling named Starling. Oh, he wasn't your ordinary bird. No, Starling was a feathered maestro of the midnight skies, with plumage that shimmered like polished obsidian flecked with silver stardust. His feathers didn't just flutter, they plinked. Each one sang a tiny, tinkling note when the wind tickled them just so, like raindrops dancing on a xylophone made of crystal. Starling's home was a peculiar planet called Puddle-Song, a watery world where the ground was more suggestion than soil. Vast oceans of shallow, silvery puddles stretched from horizon to horizon, each one a shimmering mirror reflecting the faces of faraway worlds. These weren't ordinary puddles, mind you. They were puddle-jumps, portal puddles that hiccuped and bubbled when you hopped in, whisking you away to planets where the grass giggled and the rivers ran backward with laughter. Puddle-Song was a place of endless splash and sparkle, where the moon was a giant soap bubble that never popped, and the sun rose each morning with a cheerful sneeze that scattered rainbows like confetti. But Starling had a secret dream, one that fluttered in his chest like a butterfly with hiccups. He longed to compose the greatest Snicker Symphony the universe had ever heard, a grand orchestra of giggles and chuckles, woven from the plinking plumes of birds from every puddle-jump planet. Why sing sad songs when laughter is the sweetest melody? He chirped to the puddle nymphs, those shy, splashy spirits who guarded the portals. The nymphs would ripple in agreement, their watery forms bubbling with mirth, but they warned him. To gather the plumes, dear Starling, you'll need a heart full of whimsy and wings brave enough to chase the tickle winds. One twilight eve, as the soap bubble moon swelled fat and golden, Starling made up his mind. He perched on the edge of the grand giggler, a puddle so vast it could swallow a comet, and plucked a single feather from his tail. It plinked a soft, silvery note like the first snicker of a secret shared between friends. "This is for courage," he whispered, dipping the feather into the puddle. The water swirled into a vortex of violet and lime, and with a mighty flap, plink, 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 Starling leaped in. He tumbled through the splashy tunnel of stars, his feathers humming a hasty harmony, until he splashed out onto the shores of the first puddle-jump planet, Gigglebrook Galaxy. This world was a brookside wonderland where every stream bubbled with effervescent laughter, and the trees were tall tickle willows that swayed their branches like feathery fingers, begging for a playful poke. The air smelled of fizzy lemonade and fresh-baked giggle biscuits, and the ground was carpeted in moss that squished like whoopee cushions underfoot. No sooner had Starling shaken the droplets from his wings than a chorus of chortles greeted him. Who's there?" hooted a flock of plump, polka-dotted owls perched in the tickle willows. Their eyes were wide as saucers, and their feathers were woven with strands of shimmering brook water that plinked like tiny bells. "We've been waiting for a visitor with Plink in his step," they hooted, swooping down in a whirlwind of wings. Starling bowed low, his own plumes tinkling a polite introduction. "I am Starling, seeker of the Snicker Symphony. I come for a plumbing plume, one that captures the joy of a brook's first bubble." The owls blinked in delight, their hoots turning to hearty guffaws. "A symphony of snickers? Oh, what a hoot! But to earn our brook plume, you must join our tickle-twirl dance." And so they did. The owls linked wings with Starling, spinning him through the willows where branches brushed his belly with feather-light touches, sending him into peals of uncontrollable laughter. Hee hiccup. Starling giggled until his sides ached like overfilled balloons, and the moss beneath them erupted in sympathetic snorts. Round and round they twirled, under a sky where clouds shaped themselves into grinning faces, puffing out puffs of powdered sugar that tickled the nose. At last, breathless and beaming, the lead owl, a wise old bird named Hootelda plucked a single brook plume from her crown. It was a feather of liquid sapphire, cool and curving like a crescent moon, and when Starling touched it, it plinked a note like the pop of a soap bubble bursting with joy. "Take this, little plinker," Hootelda hooted, "and let it remind you, laughter flows best when shared." With a splashy wave, Starling hopped back into a nearby Gigglebrook puddle, the plume tucked safely in his satch of stardust silk. Plink, plink, whoosh, off he went, swirling through the starry sluice to the next world. His second leap landed him on Wobblewisk Isle, a topsy-turvy planet of wobbly jelly hills and custard cloud skis. Here, the inhabitants were a merry band of whiskered otters who slid down slopes of shimmering gelatin, their fur fluffed with flavors of vanilla and violet. The air hummed with the hum of honeybees that buzzed bass lines, and the puddles were filled not with water, but with warm, whisked eggnog that jiggled invitingly. "Splash if you dare," called an otter with a mustache like a curly mustache cloud, somersaulting into a puddle with a sploosh that sent ripples of raspberry ripples across the land. Starling landed with a plink that set the jelly hills quivering like frightened puddings. "Greetings, Whisker Wonders, I seek a wobble plume for my Snicker Symphony, a note of the gleeful glide." The otters paused mid-slide, their eyes twinkling like currants in a cake. "A symphony, with Snickers, count us in, but first you must master the great gelatin gamble." What followed was a slippery spectacle of slides and somersaults. Starling chased the otters down wobbling inclines, his wings flapping furiously to keep balance on the bouncy terrain. Boing, splat, plink, he'd slip into an eggnog puddle, emerge covered in frothy fun, and join the otters in a conga line of chuckles, their tails twirling like licorice whips. One otter, a daring daredevil named Ollie, taught Starling the secret. "Wobble with your worries away, let the jiggle jiggle you." They gambled until the custard, clouds above rained down sprinkles of delight, and Starling's laughter echoed like thunder wrapped in tickles. At the gamble's end, as the jelly hills sighed back to stillness, Ollie presented a plume plucked from his own whiskered wing. It was a feather of golden gelatin, jiggly and jewel-toned, that plinked a note like the slurp of a slide into sweetness. "For the symphony that slides sorrow away," Ollie Whiskers whispered. Starling nodded, his heart wobbling with warmth, and with a sploosh into the nearest eggnog puddle, he jumped onward, plinkety-plink. Through the cosmic cream. The third planet was a hush of wonder, whisperwind meadows where the winds were soft as sighs and the flowers bloomed in bashful blushes. This was a world of shy Snickers, where the grass whispered jokes to the breeze and the birds, delicate finches with feathers like spun silk, hid their giggles behind petals. The puddles here were mirrors of mist, reflecting not just stars but the secrets of the soul. Starling arrived with a gentle plip, his plumes hushed in reverence. "I am Starling, composer of chuckles," he murmured to a finch perched on a daisy's chin. "I need a whisper plume, one that teases out the tiniest titter." The finches fluttered forward, their wings aflutter with flutters. "A Snicker Symphony, how? He, enchanting. But to claim our plume, you must play the game of gentle giggles. Tell a tale that makes the meadows murmur with mirth without raising your voice above a breath." Starling pondered, then began his story in the softest tones. A yarn of a cloud who couldn't stop sneezing rainbows, and a rainbow who blushed whenever it arched. The finches leaned in, their beaks barely suppressing snorts, and soon the meadows themselves joined in, grass blades rustling with restrained he-heys, flowers folding in fits of folded giggles. The winds carried the whispers farther, until even the mist puddles bubbled with barely audible bubbles of joy. It was laughter light as a feather, deep as a dream. The eldest finch, a sage named Sillybell, alighted on Starling's shoulder and offered a plume of pearlescent pink, fine as fog. It plinked a note like the sigh of a secret smile. Whispers weave the warmest wonders, she breathed. Touched to his tiptoes, Starling slipped into a misty puddle, the 3 plumes now glowing in his satchel like captured fireflies. Plink, hush, whoosh. But oh, dear listener, the journey wasn't over. Starling's final jump hurled him to the wildest world yet. Bouncy badlands, a bumpy bazaar of berry bushes that boinged like trampolines and brambles that belted out belly laughs. Here the birds were boisterous blue jays with jewels for jewels, their feathers jeweled with juice from the juiciest jams. The puddles were punch bowls of fizzy fruit, fizzing with ferment. Yahoo, fresh feathers in town. Squawked a jay with a berry beret, dive-bombing a bush with a boing that launched him sky-high. Starling bounced to a landing, his plinks punctuating the pandemonium. Hail, high flyers, for my Snicker Symphony I crave a bounce plume, the boom of a berry-bursting guffaw, the jays jeered with joy. A symphony of snorts sign us up, but prove your pluck in the berry bonanza, a race through the brambles collecting chuckles from the chattiest fruits. The race was a riot. Starling darted and dashed, dodging boinging branches that bopped his beak and belted him with berries that burst in blasts of blueberry bliss. Squish splat plink, he'd snag a snickering strawberry stem which chortled. Why did the berry blush? It overheard the jam session. The jays whooped and hollered, turning tumbles into triumphs, until the badlands brimmed with berry-bright bedlam. Starling crossed the finish with feathers flecked in fruit freckles, his sides splitting from shared spasms of silliness. The chief jay, a jolly giant named Jangleberry, tossed him a plume of ruby-red resilience, plump and plinking like the pop of a prize-winning punch. Bounce back with belly laughs, buddy, he bellowed. Grinning gooey, Starling plunged into a punch-ball puddle, fizz-plink whoosh, and tumbled home to puddle song, his satchel symphony complete. Back under the soap bubble moon, Starling summoned the puddle nymphs and his feathered friends from afar. On a stage of rippling reflections, he arranged the plumes, brook blue for flowing fun, wobble gold for slippery slides, whisper pink for shy shares, and bounce ruby for bold blasts. With a deep breath and a defiant plink, he conducted the Snicker Symphony. It began with a brook bubble pop, swelling to wobbly whoops, whispering into wicked wheezes and exploding in berry-big bellyaches. The notes danced across puddle song, leaping from puddle to portal, infecting the universe with uncontainable chuckles. Giggle-brooks bubbled louder, wobble-whisks jellies jiggled in jig time, whisperwinds winds wove wilder whimsy, and bouncy bushes boinged to the beat. Even the stars snickered, twinkling in time, and the galaxies giggled into spirals of glee. As the final plume faded to a feather-light sigh, Starling perched, exhausted but ecstatic. The cosmos sighed with satisfaction, a great galactic hour of after-laughter calm. And so, he chirped to the quieting night, we learn that the sweetest songs are sung with smiles. The puddle nymphs splashed approval, the moon bubbled a bedtime lullaby, and Starling nestled into a nest of nebula-soft clouds. The universe, wrapped in the warm wool of wonder, drifted toward dreams, where every plink promised another tomorrow of tickles and tunes. And if you listen closely on a starry night, you might hear it still, the faint, feathery echo of Starling's Snicker Symphony, plinking plumes from Puddle-Jump Planets, inviting you to join the joy. Sleep tight, little dreamer, tomorrow's puddles await your leap. The end.